A month after 22-year-old Missouri college student Riley Strain disappeared in Nashville, the more his family learns about that night, the more questions they have about how exactly he died. Riley vanished on March 8th after a night out with friends downtown. He was in Nashville with his fraternity brothers to celebrate their formal. He allegedly left a local bar by himself, and security footage shows him stumbling away in the opposite direction of his hotel. Witnesses say he was drunk and that he admitted to them, that he couldn't walk straight. After an extensive 2-week search, Riley was found in the Cumberland River, about 8 miles away. He was without his pants, his wallet, or his cowboy boots that he was wearing the night he went missing. His family also says he was wearing a belt that night, which should have kept his pants in place. An autopsy by the Nashville Police Department found no obvious signs of foul play. It has ruled Riley's death an accident, pending toxicology results, which take weeks. Riley's family says they're getting conflicting information from police in a case where security video and witnesses could help put the puzzle pieces together. Joining us now is the Strain family friend, Chris Dingman. He's been on this show many times. Hi, Chris. Welcome back. You've raised a lot of questions about video from several security cameras on a detention center in downtown Nashville. Why is this important?
The detention center is just north of the last ping on Riley's phone, and it was the only video that we had been released to the public about the sidewalk north of where Riley went missing. There's some really grainy pictures off on the side, etc. But over the weekend, we found out that that detention center not only has that camera, but possibly 3 more. We know of at least 2 that faces east back towards that. Plus, we've got a picture of one facing due south towards the bridges. So we would love to see the footage, even though it's the sheriff's department. We now do have confirmation that there are cameras that was pointing back towards the bridge where Riley went missing at.
So these cameras that you're talking about near this detention center, these cameras would have been the final images of Riley Strain that night.
Should have been, yes.
And could have conceivably caught how he wound up in the river, if he fell on his own or if somebody pushed him, something like that.
Something that has come about too, and this was breaking with us this weekend and then actually yesterday verified. The reason that footage is so incredibly important to the family is the person of interest that the family had been wanting to see, the homeless person that we knew had been the last person to talk to Riley up on top of the roadway. We got to talk to finally. He actually reached out Saturday afternoon to some friends of ours that was down there talking with the homeless. Actually gave a statement, him and another person, that Riley had come through there, had been stumbling, possibly stumbled into the little fence that's right there. They asked him if he was okay. He says, yeah, man, I'm just drunk, something along those lines. And they put him walking underneath the bridge north, past through the detention center area. That was huge. That was something we had been looking for. A lot of times, though, sometimes the homeless people, they'll say something to you and me, or not a policeman, and, you know, just to be having a conversation. Right. So Monday, another one of our associates was down there. The gentleman showed back up again. We were able to call the detectives. The detectives showed up, and verbatim what we were given Saturday evening, he told the detective his account of the story of what he transpired and saw what happened to Riley.
So, Chris,
which really, go ahead.
No, finish your sentence. Which really what?
It just shocks the family.
Yeah.
You know, this is the first person that we've been looking for almost a month. Saturday will be a month. Well, actually the 8th, you know, today's 30 days. And he finally come forward. The fact that his story 2 days later is spot on. And the couple that actually talked to him Saturday videoed it and wrote it down, because they wasn't for sure if we were going to get to meet this gentleman again. And the lady that was there with the officer that took the statement had already heard what we had heard Saturday, and she even verified in the family war room last night. It was basically verbatim. There was no deviation on what was told to the family Saturday night, the family friend, and what the detective was told yesterday. So it doesn't explain the phone, unless possibly Riley, when he fell into the fence, the phone fell out of his hand. Also, another little bit of information. We've been told pretty much from day one that a homeless person in that area had found a phone that night, could not open it and threw it in the river. That dates back all the way to the Monday and Tuesday following Riley's disappearance. So that was also part of his conversation that he gave to the family Saturday, family member, friend of the family, and also to the detective. So it's huge information. What we transpire and go from there, I don't know, but the police have been made aware of it.
So thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.